Your Oliver can be damaged during shipping, handling, and installation. The machine weighs from 6,000 to 10,000 pounds. Be sure your handling equipment is adequate. Take extra care not to damage the separating deck. It is common for contractors to use the surface of the deck as a workspace or storage space. Concentrated loads on the deck can bend or break the deck frame or damage expensive wire overcovers. We recommend a sheet of 22-gauge steel be placed over the deck to protect it during plant construction. A solid level foundation is required by all heavy vibrating process equipment. Your Oliver is capable of making precise separations, and false vibration due to faulty installation can ruin the separation quality. A 6-inch concrete slab is ideal but not essential. If you feel your floor is not adequate, contact the factory or your Oliver representative for recommendations. Normally, all motors will be installed at the factory and will be wired for 60-cycle, 220 440-volt, 3-phase, 1,750 RPM, unless otherwise specified on your order. Motor bases are provided for all motors. The fan motor is located in the base of the machine below the feeder. The eccentric drive motor is located inside the air chest. The blender motor is mounted under the blender. The hydraulic motor, which is always supplied by the factory, is located in the base near the discharge end of the machine. When your electrician wires the motors, be sure he connects them so they turn in the proper direction. The fan shaft, eccentric shaft, and blender shaft should turn counterclockwise when viewed from the discharge end of a left-hand machine, clockwise on a right-hand machine. Proper direction of rotation is very important. The machine will not perform correctly with fans running backwards. The inlet screens filter incoming air and must be clean. If allowed to plug, the machine will be starved for air and not work properly. Some installations may require clean outside air rather than drawing dirty plant air through the machine's air filters. We recommend that air be brought into the machine from the bottom or through the filter openings located nearest the feeder. For complete information, contact your Oliver representative or the factory. Archimedes discovered the law of specific gravity, which states, particles having a specific density of less than 1 will float, and particles with a specific density greater than 1 will sink. Air is used on all gravity separation equipment as the separating standard through the process of stratification. Stratification occurs by forcing air through the particle mixture so that the particles rise or fall by their relative weight to the air. The area on the deck immediately below the feeder is called the stratifying zone. In this zone, the vibration of the deck and the lifting action of the air combine to stratify the material into layers, with heavier layers on the bottom and lighter layers on top. Separation of different weight particles cannot occur until the material becomes stratified. Once the material becomes stratified, the vibrating action of the deck converts the layers of vertical stratification to a horizontal specific density separation. This is important information and should be reviewed by any operator. Click on Print Manual for a complete explanation of the theory of gravity separation. Feeding is very critical to the operation of a gravity table. The machine should be fed uniformly with as few surges as possible. Surges or variations of feed will result in reduced quality. An aspirating feeder is standard Maxi-Cap equipment. It is designed to pre-clean dust, dirt, and fines from the product. Airflow is controlled by opening or closing the damper located on top of the feeder. The air damper should be set to pull as much air as possible without removing good product. Your Maxi-Cap has 4 major adjustments, which are controlled with hydraulic valves located at the control console. The controls are end raise or slope, side tilt or tilt, eccentric speed, and air control. All control levers are set up to increase the adjustment as you push on the lever and to decrease the adjustment as you pull on the lever. Slope is the angle from the feed end of the deck to the discharge end. Greater slope means a greater rate of flow and less exposure time for the product. Less slope means a slower rate of flow and more exposure time for the product. Quality of separation can be related to exposure time. In general, the longer a product mass is exposed to a separating action, the better the separation becomes. End raise and feed rate are closely related controls. As feed rate increases, slope must be raised. As feed rates are decreased, the end raise should be lowered. Side tilt is the difference in elevation across the width of the deck. Increasing side tilt will cause the material to shift toward the low side of the deck. Decreasing side tilt will cause the material to shift toward the high side of the deck. The best separations are obtained when side tilt is set at or near the maximum steepness. Eccentric speed and side tilt are closely related. Increasing eccentric speed will cause material to be shifted toward the high side of the deck. Decreasing eccentric speed will cause material to shift toward the low side of the deck. Air regulation is one of the most important adjustments to be made on a gravity separator. With proper air regulation, the material will be almost fluid in appearance. The material should be agitated and free-flowing. Bubbling should be kept to a minimum. Your Maxi-Cap has a patented multiple fan system, and air is regulated on each fan by moving the air levers. Air must be adjusted in the zone above each fan for best separation within that zone. Operate the machine empty for a few minutes prior to making your first separation. Listen to the machine to become familiar with the way it sounds during operation. Locate and change all the controls. Observe how the machine reacts to each change. Before turning off the machine, make one final check to be sure the fan shaft is turning in the proper direction.